2 life terms for convicted child murderer Mortimer Saunders. The 42-year-old was today found guilty of the rape and murder of 3-year-old Courtney Pieters in Elsies River in May last year. The girl's body was found 9 days after she went missing. We cross for the latest to our reporter Vanessa Poonah in Cape Town. Vanessa, remind us what the judge said today.
Yes, good evening to you, Francis. The judge in her judgment basically said that Mortimer Saunders had lied, not only in his confession that he had killed the child, but only performed sexual acts on her body after she had died, but that also that he had indeed planned this murder and this rape, that it was indeed premeditated. Now, if I can take you back, Francis, this was a case which rocked not just the community of Elsies River, but also Cape Town, the Western Cape, and the country at large. The judge saying just now in her judgment, which of course she handed down over 2 days, that even though the state's case, or rather the evidence was circumstantial, that she was satisfied that it had proven its case beyond reasonable doubt. She made mention of the fact that the courts in South Africa are inundated with the kinds of crimes committed against young girls, women, as well as young boys. I beg your pardon. And of course, Judge Matami then finding that Mortimer Saunders, who was a very close friend of Courtney Pieters' father, who lived in their house for over 2 years, someone who was trusted. She actually said as much in her judgment, saying that this was the man that abused his position of trust when he, of course, fed the child ant poison, strangled her, raped her, and of course dumped her body in a field in an industrial area in Epping, just close meters away from the family home in Elsies River.
This is what we know, that horrible fact that often these perpetrators are close to the victims. Were there gender activists there? What are they saying, Vanessa?
Indeed, there were gender activists, but also activists from the Elsies River community. This macabre story made headlines across South Africa at the time, and of course people have been closely watching this matter. We spoke to a neighbour of the Pieters family, as well as to a gender activist based in Mitchell's Plain, but who has also was involved in the search for this young girl. And the sentiment is synonymous. They are saying that this case particularly, and you must remember that the Courtney Pieters murder, as gruesome, as heartbreaking as it was, unfortunately was not an isolated incident here in Cape Town or the Western Cape or the country for that matter. And of course, activists are then saying that even though they knew from the start that this man, Mortimer Saunders, was indeed guilty of premeditated murder and rape, saying that at one stage they were feeling that the case was dragging on for too long, saying that they are satisfied that the court has now come to the conclusion, convicting him on both counts, but saying that they are still a community left traumatized. It's going to take quite a while longer for this Elsies River community to process what has happened. And of course, we'll wait until sentencing procedures kick off here in the court behind me on the 4th of December. Of course, the long postponement allowing both the state and defence to summarise and get their reports, for example, a victim impact assessment report on behalf of the state, and of course the defence advocate Mortimer Saunders telling the judge that he will need this time for a pre-sentencing report to be drawn up. Now, of course, Mortimer Saunders being a first-time offender, but in this incident, the gruesome killing, really a macabre story of the rape, of feeding the child ant poison, and of course, I suppose the community and parents at large will then find closure once he is sentenced in this matter.
What a horrific story. Thank you very much, Vanessa Poonah. And the National Prosecuting Authority, as we told you earlier, asking for 2 life terms in that case.